How do we say hello in Korean? 안녕하세요. How do we say thank you in Korean? 감사합니다. How do we say yes in Korean? 네. How do we say no in Korean? 아니요. How do we say sorry in Korean? 미안합니다. How do we say water in Korean? 물. How do we say food in Korean? Bumsik. How do we say friend in Korean? 친구. How do we say love in Korean? 사랑. How do we say goodbye in Korean? 안녕히 가세요. How do we say welcome in Korean? 어서 오세요. How do we say how are you in Korean? 어떻게 지내요? How do we say I'm good in Korean? 잘 지내요? How do we say excuse me in Korean? 실례합니다. How do we say it's okay in Korean? 괜찮아요. How do we say what's your name in Korean? 이름이 뭐예요? How do we say my name is 민수 in Korean? 저는 민수입니다. How do we say how old are you in Korean? 몇 살이에요? How do we say nice to meet you in Korean? 만나서 반가워요. How do we say see you later in Korean? 다음에 봐요. How do we say where are you from in Korean? 어디에서 왔어요? How do we say I'm from Korea in Korean? 저는 한국에서 왔어요. How do we say really in Korean? 진짜요? How do we say wait a minute in Korean? 잠깐만요. How do we say be careful in Korean? 조심하세요. How do we say why in Korean? 왜요? How do we say when in Korean? 언제요? How do we say of course in Korean? 당연하죠. How do we say what did you say in Korean? 뭐라고요? How do we say what time is it in Korean? 몇 시예요? How do we say I like it in Korean? 좋아요. How do we say I don't like it in Korean? 싫어요. How do we say that's right in Korean? 맞아요. How do we say I don't know in Korean? 몰라요. How do we say me too in Korean? 저도요. How do we say is that so in Korean? 그래요. How do we say where are you going in Korean? 어디 가요? How do we say what's this in Korean? 이게 뭐요? How do we say what's wrong in Korean? 왜 그래요? How do we say do you need help in Korean? 도와줄까요? How do we say please help me in Korean? 도와주세요. How do we say I have a stomachache in Korean? 배가 아파요. How do we say I have a headache in Korean? 머리가 아파요. How do we say enjoy your meal in Korean? 맛있게 드세요. How do we say it's delicious in Korean? 맛있어요. How do we say I'm hungry in Korean? 배가 아파요. How do we say I'm thirsty in Korean? 목 말라요. How do we say I'm full in Korean? 배불러요. How do we say it's pretty in Korean? 예뻐요. How do we say it's cute in Korean? 귀여워요. How do we say hello on call in Korean? 여보세요. How do we say call me in Korean? 전화해요. How do we say I'll be back in Korean? 돌아올게요. How do we say I promise in Korean? 약속해요. How do we say maybe in Korean? 아마도요. How do we say what are you doing in Korean? 묘해요. How do we say do you have pen in Korean? pen 있어요. How do we say where is it in Korean? 어디 있어요? How do we say how much is it in Korean? 얼마요? How do we say I get it in Korean? 알겠어요. How do we say I forgot in Korean? 까먹었어요. How do we say take your time in Korean? 천천히 하세요. How do we say I'm busy in Korean? 바빠요. How do we say I'm late in Korean? 늦었어요. How do we say let's go in Korean? 갑시다. How do we say it's raining in Korean? 비가 와요. How do we say it's snowing in Korean? 눈이 와요. How do we say I'm happy in Korean? 행복해요. How do we say I'm sad in Korean? 슬퍼요. How do we say I'm tired in Korean? 피곤해요. How do we say it's fun in Korean? 재밌어요. How do we say are you serious in Korean? 진심해요. How do we say don't do that in Korean? 하지 마세요. How do we say good job in Korean? 잘했어요. How do we say here you go in Korean? 여기에 있어요. How do we say it's cold in Korean? 좋아요. How do we say it's hot in Korean? 좋아요. How do we say good luck in Korean? 행운을 위하여. How do we say don't worry in Korean? 관찰하지 마세요. How do we say take care in Korean? 조심하세요. How do we say it's cool in Korean? 뭐 줘요? How do we say I miss you in Korean? 보고 싶어요. How do we say congratulations in Korean? 축하해요. How do we say happy birthday in Korean? 생일 축하해요. How do we say do you like pizza in Korean? 피자 좋아요. How do we say I'll have pizza in Korean? 피자 주세요. How do we say just kidding in Korean? 장난이에요. How do we say that's amazing in Korean? 대단해요. How do we say don't forget in Korean? 잊지 마세요. How do we say you can do it in Korean? Hi Ting. How do we say I'm free in Korean? 저는 한국이에요. How do we say I don't know in Korean? 몰라요. How do we say please give me coffee in Korean? 커피 주세요. How do we say come over in Korean? 놀러 와줘. How do we say this is a book in Korean? 이게 산침입니다. How do we say don't lie in Korean? 조심말로 하지 마. How do we say I have an earache in Korean? 귀가 아파요. How do we say I should sleep in Korean? 자야지. How do we say see you later in Korean? 다음에 봐요. How do we say take care in Korean? 조심하세요.